Hi everyone, today I've got a brew happening. I'm going to give my hands a go at a New England style IPA. I've got some small amount of oats, but for the most part I'm using Pilsner malt and some wheat malt. So that seems to be what I've researched, what seems to be the most popular styles. I know a lot of people use lager malt, or they use pale malt, but I'm going to try and give it a go to make it nice and light, but with heaps of hops. So here we go. All right, so my strike water's up to temp. But first, before I tip the grains in, the bloke at the brew shop recommended this to me, potassium metabosulfite. So you just use a small amount of that in your strike water. Apparently it's good for the bitterness and I guess the off sort of hop flavors that you might get in a beer. So hopefully this sort of clears that up. It just works for the water chemistry. I don't really know much about it, so I'm just gonna, hopefully it works, and then I'll do a bit of research after this brew and hopefully it all works out well. All right, I've got the grains. We've got our Pilsner malt. We've got 20 litres of water in here. So I'm hoping that it doesn't thicken up too much when I'm trying to mash in. Get all of that in. Hopefully it doesn't thicken up too much when I'm trying to mash in. If so, I'll add a little bit more water and that should help the problem. So that looks good already. Just mixing in nicely. I did try and do a hazy pale ale a couple of months ago. I haven't actually cracked a bottle open yet, but what I did find from it is it was very dark for what I was hoping for. So what I'm trying to achieve in this one is to make sure it's nice and lightly coloured, you know, get that nice orangey yellow haze to it. Wheat malt. Chuck that in. So I'm using about, well, I think it's like 60% Pilsner and about 35–40% wheat, and then just a small amount of oats just to sort of get some body, head retention. Right. Nice light coloured malt. And some oats. This is about 250 grams worth. Mix those in. Try to stir it up so it's all mixed through properly. The mash paddle's moving through it pretty easily. Normally just scoop it down the bottom and bring it around, but yeah, that to me is pretty well mixed in. Hover the camera over that so you can see it. So yeah, it looks nice and mixed in. Shouldn't be too many dough clumps in that. Alright, so I've turned the pump on. Already, I know it looks very light in colour, but hopefully once that mixes in a bit better, it may darken up slightly, but that should be the colour I need to give it that nice light colour and appearance. So yeah, we'll just let that run for another hour and we'll be ready for boil time. All right, our mashing's done. Time to get the lid off. Take the pump arm off first. And we'll let this thing drain out. So I'll get this up on just got my little handle. We'll let that drain, and once it's fully drained out, we'll give it a quick sparge, and we'll get all the nice sugars out of that grain. I'm used to using a small little tiny jug, so this one I just bought today, it's a nice big 3 litre one. It's a bit easier to try and keep an eye on what I'm actually sparging and the amounts, and as well as getting more water into one jug rather than doing it 50 times with one little jug. It's working out like that for me. I'll just keep washing that, and then I'll come back for the boil. Alright, we're getting close to the boil now, so this should be ready soon, and we'll have the get the timer going, and we'll put the 60-minute hop addition in, which I'm going to do about 35 grams of Motueka, which is a New Zealand hop. So it's just to give the beer just a little bit of bitterness. It's only got 4.6 alpha acid, so it's not really that strong. So it's not really going to add a heap of bitterness, but at 60 minutes it'll add enough. So we'll just wait for this to get to the boil, and then we'll fire away. All right, we've got our boil on. Now I'm chucking in the hops. Got, can you see it? Yeah, Motueka hop, about 35, 40 grams. Straight in there. Whiz around. I know it's a light hop, but that's going to be my bitterness. Light bitterness. I'm searching for more of the hop aroma and hop flavour in this one, so fingers crossed it comes out. So a little bit of a bugger. I turned my back just a second ago, and the hops made it boil up a bit, and now I've got all the hops all through my beer. I was hoping to try and keep it within the spider to not, try and keep a nice clean beer, but these things happen. Alright, well, we're at the end of the boil. Time to take this off and just let that settle for a bit. Let that cool down. Oop. Get some Whirlpool hops in there. When I do a Whirlpool, I normally just put the pump arm on and just sort of let it circulate sort of through the spider, so I don't really have like a Whirlpool jig that you throw on the end of a drill or that you can sort of hook up into the unit, but it does the job and it throws the flavour through, so you use what you've got, make it happen. Alright, I've got my hops here. So I've got 50 grams of Nelson Sauvin and 50 grams of Citra. So this is my version of a Whirlpool. I normally just chuck it in there and just swirl it around every so often. That's enough to just let it steep and enough to let it get all those flavours out of the hops into the beer. You can see it all leaching into the beer already, so that's just how I do it. Just give it a little bit of a stir every now and then, just to make sure it's not packing down. But yeah, I'll leave that for, going to do this one for about 15 minutes. And we should get some nice hot flavour through that. Alright, so the beer's done. It's still sitting at about 60 degrees in there, but it's nice and hazy, as you can see. What I've done is I've hooked it up to the bottom here with a hose. I've run it into my conical, and then just on the grain farther I've set up the little pump arm system. So you've got an in valve and an out valve that runs through. This you can set your target temperature and then how long it's how it's actually what the temperature is. So the pump's hooked in underneath there in a bucket of ice, and then that's just flowing through there now. So I'll leave that running. But yeah, what I'll do is I'll open up the arm. The fermenter's already, it's been sanitized. It's all clean and ready to go. So that'll run into the fermenter. I've got a yeast starter that's running around at the moment, so hopefully that's ready for tomorrow morning, and we'll pitch the yeast in the morning. Alright, so I've had my yeast. I've just started my first yeast starter, so it's been running for about just over 24 hours, so probably about 28 hours. I've got a nice big 2-litre starter ready to go in. So the New England is going to love this. So what I'm going to do, I've learned a few lessons. I bought a flask. It was the biggest one I could find. So I'm just going to use this to dip my yeast in. I'll get this off that side. I'm going to chuck this yeast in. So fingers crossed this does the job for the beer. The colour looks great on the yeast starter, so I'm hoping it looks the same on the beer as well. I'm just going to try and pour slowly so I don't lose the stir bar on the in the flask. Oh yeah. Perfect. Still got the stir bar in there, so that's perfect. All right. Well, let's hopefully we can come back in a week or maybe 2 weeks, and we'll have a delicious New England IPA beer ready to go. The smells are amazing so far, so I hope it translates into a delicious beer. Thanks for watching, guys, and thanks for being patient and watching my amateur videos, and I hope to see you again soon. Cheers, guys.